Hello, my name is David Broussard and welcome to the Office 365 Bootcamp. Today's episode is about managing change in Office 365. Now, you might ask, what's the importance of change management? And I'm here to talk about that a little bit. The most important thing is to recognize that your end users are going to be disrupted by any change that comes at them from Office 365. And in the cloud, changes happen at a significantly higher frequency than they ever did on-premise. More importantly, in the cloud, you don't have as many tools to manage the changes that are coming at you as you do on-premise. When you're on-premise, you actually can choose when to install service patches. When you're in the cloud, when Microsoft deploys new changes, you may not have any control over when those changes actually appear inside of your tenant, or I should say, fewer controls. But what can those changes be? Well, they can be new features, and we all love getting new features, except when they break things that already are out there. They could be updates to features, they could be break fixes. All of those together can disrupt your users. And so it's important for us as administrators to recognize that what we have to do is manage that change. What that really means is less about the technical deployment of these features and more about communicating the proper changes to our end users so that our end users understand that a change is coming, what that change is going to mean to them, and when they can expect it to actually show up. For the most part, if you've been in Office 365 for any appreciable period of time, you've noticed that changes come all the time. And these changes are actually pretty awesome. What I've discovered is these changes come, and I've been very, very happy with the changes that have come. So, as an example, Microsoft rolls out a new feature like Microsoft Teams. Well, if you knew that was coming, and you've been watching the Message Center, then you would know how to turn it on, how to not turn it on, how to let your users know that it is coming. If you didn't pay attention to those kinds of things, then you could be blindsided by users starting to use features that you were not aware were available. So let's talk right now about how we can actually use the tools that Microsoft provides us to actually manage change. So there's a number of ways to find out about changes that are coming towards you. One of the things we can do is we can take a look at the Message Center in the Admin app. The Admin app is our place where we're going to manage Office 365, and inside of there is built in a whole section that talks about how to manage change. Let's go take a look at that now. So I'm going to pop over here to the Admin Center for one of my tenants. And you'll see that there's a section in here that's called the Message Center. And so I've got to go scroll down, and here is this whole section about the Message Center. And what you can see in here is it tells me messages that are coming at me. If I click on the title, we can go to the full version of this, and inside of here you'll see that I have a number of different types of messages that are coming towards me. Some of them are about stay informed. For example, feature update, Microsoft Teams is now online, came out March 14th. I can also look at plan for change. So a plan for change is telling me that, hey, there's a feature update, there are changes coming to the analytics dashboard. And you can see that there's a whole bunch of these that are coming out there. Here's one about preventing or fixing issues. An update for Project Online, requirements are changing. All of these work together to allow you to see what's coming at you inside of your area. Now, what's nice is you can actually customize this. You can click on this Edit Message Center preferences over here. When you do that, you're going to be given an area that lets you pick which messages you want to see that are being sent to you. So we'll wait for this to load up. So if we click upon the Edit Message Center preferences, you can see that we get a number of options about what type of messages we want to see. In my case, I'm actually getting all of the messages. I'm getting messages about Dynamic CRM, I'm getting messages about Microsoft Exchange, Skype for Business, mobile device management, identity management, 365. I can get Planner, Azure Information Protection, SharePoint, Yammer, and this is the part I really like, I can get a weekly digest of all my messages sent to me. So instead of me having to remember to go to the admin interface on a regular basis, I can actually get it sent to my email accounts. Now I've got my primary email address for this domain, and then I've got my email address that I normally check. So I'll get an email once a week that shows me all of the digest of all my messages. I find that to be incredibly useful. You can turn that on, you can turn that off, you can manage the different areas that you want to see. For example, if you don't want to get Yammer messages, you can simply come down here, flip that off, and the Yammer messages will no longer appear inside the Message Center or in your email. Okay, let's go back to over here. That's one way of looking at it. Another thing we can take a look at is there is a mobile app as well that is provided for us. So in the mobile app, it has all of those messages as well. So if you want to get that information from your phone, you can certainly do that. There's also the Office 365 roadmap. Now this is a website that Microsoft runs, and if we go to this website, it's going to actually go out and you can get to it at products.office.com, Office 365 roadmap. The best way to find it is just to search for Office 365 roadmap. You type that into Bing, it will take you there. Okay? Otherwise the URL is a little complex. When you get there, you're going to get a chance to go through and see all of the features that Microsoft is actually putting out in Office 365. You'll be able to see things that have been launched, things that are rolling out, what's in development, what's been canceled, and what's been previously released. Now that it's been out for a while, we can even hide features that have been added over a month ago or updated over a month ago so that I can only see stuff that's current, and I can even type in a search term and put some filters on this. So if I look at the launched area, these are recently launched things, I can look down here and say, hey, look at all the different things that I've got, like Yammer integration with Office 365 groups. Simply by hovering over that, I can get some important information about the fact that now Microsoft has enabled you to go into the Yammer administration interface and turn on an interface so that when you create a new Yammer group, it will also create an O365 group and use that for your file storage and OneNote. I can go through all of these different areas and see these. In addition, I can also see, these are all things that have been launched recently, I can also see things that are in the process of rolling out. Now at this point, we probably should step back for a second and say, what's the difference between rolling out and already launched? This has to do with what we call rings. And with Office 365, you have two options that you can set in the Admin Center about how quickly changes actually come to your organization. You can be in the fast ring, which means as soon as features are available, they will be deployed to your site. Or you can be in the slow ring, which means after everybody in the fast ring has gotten them, which usually takes between 60 to 90 days, then they will start deploying it to general availability. At that point in time, you'll be able to get those features. So things that are in the rolling out area are things that are going to the fast ring. Things that have been rolled out are things that should be appearing in your regular tenant. So down here, I can go out here and see that the SharePoint framework, for example, Visio Online are also being rolled out currently. So if I'm in a fast ring tenant like this particular tenant is, I should start seeing those changes almost immediately. But if I'm in a slow ring tenant, I may not see them for another 60 to 90 days. In addition to the Office 365 roadmap, you should be highly recommended to go out to the Office blogs. These are the places that the developers of the Office community go out and actually tell you what's happening and what their thoughts are. They go into a deeper explanation of the different features and talk about why they've gone out and produced those. It's recommended that you go out and read those on a pretty regular basis. You can also go out to the Microsoft technical community. Now, the Microsoft technical community is the replacement for the old Yammer group they used to have, their external network. The technical community is a very useful place to go and find out pretty much everything about Office 365. When you come out here, you can go out and look at different communities, different areas inside the community. Right now I'm in the Admin Center area of the Office 365 community. So this is a place where people talk about the Admin Center and tips and tricks, and you can ask questions and you can get answers and you can interact with Microsoft people and also with other power users and people just like you throughout the community. This is a great place to go and if you have a question, if something doesn't seem to be working right, this is a great place to go and ask that question, because if somebody in the community has run across it already, they may very well want to go out and take a look at that, and you may have already answered that question for you. Lastly, I would recommend that you take a look at social media. In Twitter, for example, there's a hashtag O365, there's a hashtag SharePoint, there's a hashtag Exchange, there's lots of different topics that you can follow. And also, it's recommended that you go out and look at places like on Facebook and on LinkedIn. You can find people who are MVPs, who are Microsoft Certified Masters, who are Microsoft employees, who blog regularly, who tweet and post on Facebook regularly information about Office 365. So once you have all this information, you have to decide how you're going to use it. One of the first decisions you have to make is to decide, should my company be in the fast ring or in the slow ring for changes? In the fast ring, those changes are going to come immediately. And that means that you have to be much more on top of what's coming out of Office 365 and the changes you're going to get. If you're in the slow ring, then you have an opportunity to actually look at those changes and see how they're going to be used and see how others are using them before you actually roll them out to your organization. One thing that we've seen a lot of people do is to actually have two tenants. Their primary production tenant is on the slow ring, and then they have a small, maybe 1 to 5 licenses that's a pre-production or a test tenant that they put in the fast ring. This enables them to actually go out and see those changes in a real live environment and play with them and understand what those changes are going to actually do to their solutions before they are actually rolled out to all of their users. And in some cases, you're actually able to not have those features be activated. So all of that together, once you have that put together, you need to then understand, how do I let my users know? The answer to that is you have to communicate, and then you have to communicate some more, and then when you thought you've communicated enough, communicate even more. This means that you need to let your end users know what's coming. Send them out a regular email, whether it's, and by the way, don't just use email. Use social media, use email, use messages, use town halls, use videos, use multiple ways to let people know what's going on out there. Have a website in which you're talking about the changes that are coming as well, so that people know that they go out and look for this for themselves. All of that is important because in the end, if we go back again, we'll say the end users can be disrupted by any change that comes. And this change is happening significantly more rapidly than it used to. So it's incumbent upon us as the administrators to actually manage that change and to communicate what's coming to the end users. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.